Morning and welcome to this training 20. We have Functional Friday today, focusing all on the kettlebell swing. Now before we get started, first of all, I've already warmed up so I can kind of spend most of the time teaching you rather than going through that. So if you are going to do this workout alongside with me, not live, then recommend getting warmed up. Otherwise it is more of an educational one today, so be careful if you're going to join me straight off now. Otherwise get warmed up quickly, whilst I'm going to do a bit of talking at the start anyway, so start getting warmed up if you're joining me live. But the other thing is, kettlebell swings are an advanced exercise, hence why I'm doing this video. Obviously you need a kettlebell, but you can use other things. You can just practice the technique if you haven't got a kettlebell available at the time for when you go back to it. But they are very advanced, so even though a lot of people do them, a lot of people can do them very wrong, a lot of people get injured doing them, so it's important to get it right. So I recommend starting off with my deadlift video that I've done before on a Functional Friday, and even before that there's a hip hinge video, which you'll be best starting off with if you're an absolute novice with this, or if you've just always struggled with issues, whether it's with the back or generally the technique of the swing. With that said, we're going to get straight into it then with pretty much a deadlift first of all. So I've got the kettlebell in between my feet first of all. All I want to focus on is that hip hinge. So although I said go back to those videos, we're still going to start here because it's so important to get right first. So what I want you to do is tuck your hips forward. We've got that nice flat back. I want you to engage your core and squeeze your glutes. This is our end position for the kettlebell swing. The hip hinge, the deadlift, big squeeze on the glutes, core strong, flat back, hips tucked up. Feet about shoulder width apart. This is where we want to be. This is where we're finishing every swing here. Notice how straight up I am. What we never want to be is here. We're going to go through this more. A lot of people you see swinging up, driving the hips forward, and that's not their fault in terms of that's a big move for the kettlebell swing, but we actually never want to be driving the hips past here. We want to be upright, squeezing on and finishing off in this straight up position. Now you know that, we're going to start off with some hip hinges. So from this position, we're going to push the bum backwards, the shoulders and chest are going to drop down. So we're into this position, but everything else stays the same. Glutes are here, core is on, back is flat. We've got a bend in that leg, and then we're driving the hips up. Hinge back, driving the hips up. Hinge and up. Okay, let's take a hold of that kettlebell. Obviously I'm too high here, so this is a good thing to practice. Hinge as far forward as you can. Now if I try and hinge any further, I'm going to start rounding from the back. So here instead I'm going to bend the legs. So see how I'm not losing that back, I'm keeping the core strong, I'm bending those legs. From here I'm standing it up into that finish position. I'm going to keep referring to this as the finish position. So glutes on, core strong, flat back. Down we go, hinging, dropping that, bending the legs when we need to, and picking up. Now I'll go through all this on the deadlift video, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But this is what we need to make sure we can do first of all. Hinging down, bending the legs when we need to. I'm in that flat back position here, core strong. I'm going to keep repeating myself, but I have to in order to really drill it into your technique. So once you've established that deadlift that we've just been going through there, we're then going to practice picking up from a kettlebell position. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can simply place it in front of you, like so. What we're looking for here is like a big step in front. So what you can sometimes do is if you're in that deadlift position, you take it down, you take a big step back, you want it just within reach. Just within reach here, so you're in that exact same position. Rather than having the kettlebell here, you want to be able to just reach the kettlebell, so much so that it's rocked over. We want it almost out of reach when it's up, so it's in that position there, okay? And then go through the same thing. So like I'm down here, I'm in that hinge position. You can see my bum is lower than my shoulders, back flat, core strong, hands on the kettlebell, good grab, and I'm just holding that position there. Now I can feel that my hamstrings and glutes are loaded in this position. I feel like they're taking the weight, my heels are down, I'm in that strong core position, like so. That is your starting position for a kettlebell swing when you're starting off. From there, we're going to practice some little swing in and outs. What we're looking for here is once you're in that position, core strong, you're going to stand it up a tiny little bit, and you're going to pull the kettlebell into you, and then you're going to put it back down. So see how I'm maintaining my position, I'm pushing down my feet a little bit in order to lift my bum up a little bit and my shoulders up, and I'm just swinging that kettlebell into my legs. And when I say swinging it into my legs, you're looking for pretty much anywhere between your forearm, anywhere of your forearm to hit your thighs. So anywhere between your wrist and your elbow. If I show you from this side on here, I'm in that position. See how they kind of hit there and then drop back down. So that's what we're looking for here. We're looking for some contact, mid forearm into those inner thighs, and then it drops back down. Obviously not like to bash our inner thighs, but we're certainly making contact there. So that's what the starting position of the kettlebell swing should be. So I'm going to show you again. Here we are, in it hits and back down. You can't practice this position enough. You need to make sure you've got that nice flat back, and we're just going to go for reps there first of all. So that is the lowest part of the move. Learning that pickup phase is so important. See, time and time again, people come to their kettlebell here and start their swings, bend over, bring it in, and then off they go. But we want to establish our form right from the off. So here we start, it swings in, and then we can go up, okay? But first of all, practicing that position there. So we're now going to take it away. We're going to take it to the other side of the exercise. So I've talked about this finish position already. So what you're going to do here is stand up without the kettlebell first of all. You're going to have both hands down, standing up straight in this finish position. Imagine you're holding a kettlebell up here. Glutes are on, core's on, back's nice and flat. We're looking forwards. Then all we're going to do is do that little hinge and back. Little hinge and back. And then what you can do, build this up further and further. Compared to my deadlift, I'm kind of really pushing those hips back and then driving into a big glute squeeze. Remember, we're never hinging back and forward like so. I want you to hinge back nicely, squeeze into a glute squeeze. So big squeeze. See, I'm into that finish position and back. So nice little reps here. We're going to do this with a kettlebell now. The arms are going to be dead. The arms are going to relax down. They're not doing anything at this point when we're practicing this part. So they're here. We're going to drop those hips back and back up. See how the arms aren't moving at all. As they just hang down, as I'm going for those little pulses, big squeeze of the glutes at the top. Now, as I keep it going, I'm starting to drop the hips a little further, like so. What we've got to establish is that kind of swing forward. So I'm going to get a bit of momentum going with the arms now. And as I go down, the kettlebell comes in, and I'm just performing out those little dips again. See how much of a swing I'm performing? What we don't want to see is you putting it all into the arms. So as you can see, I'm only doing a little swing, but if I was doing this, that would suggest to me that the shoulders are doing all the work. So we want to establish, as much as we're hinging, is as much as the kettlebell should be swinging. So the arms are lifting and swinging a small amount. But the movement itself is coming from the momentum caused by that hip hinge. And again, just practicing this little swing can be really important to establish that good full kettlebell swing. Once you've had a good go at that, all you're going to do is progressively build yourself into more of a hip hinge and more of a swing. So I'm going to take you through it now. deeper you go, the more you can slightly lift those arms. But generally, you shouldn't feel like you're ever forcing the arms up. They should just be kind of reacting to the hip hinge. So as you hinge back, the power from the hinge allows you to gently lift those arms into that swing. You've got to remember when we're doing a kettlebell swing, it's not really about the arm. It's all about the hamstrings and glutes and the lower back. So don't let the arms take over. The lower you go for this swing, the more you can kind of feel that kettlebell rising up, like so. So now I'm here, my arms still aren't doing much, kind of swinging back and forth, but I'm in that full hinge. I'm also never entering this position here. I'm hinging back. I'm just standing up straight into that finished position, lifting to about chest level, and then that's the swing. Have a little rest there. So that's how we want to build it into a swing. Build it in progressively, always hinging back, and then finishing off in that finished position. I'm going to grab a quick drink. So, with that, we're going to take it back to the start and carry on with our starting position now we've established that. Because if you want to really work on your technique and nail it down, stop-start swings are one of the best ways to do so, because especially as you move up weight, it's very easy to lose control and technique because it's a very momentum-based exercise. Therefore, the stop-start kettlebell will ensure that you've kind of got that control over every rep. So what we're going to do here, same as before, big step back, just so you can get your hands on that kettlebell here. We put it in, drive those hips up, down, and back to that starting position. So I'll show you again, nice controlled. In it comes, swing it up, back, and down. Swing, back, down. These are stop-start kettlebell swings. Technique, it's going through the motions here. So I'm keeping all the key points throughout the whole exercise. That kettlebell comes in, I swing up and back down, okay? That is a stop-start kettlebell swing. That is a drill you can really help use to improve your form whilst trying to progress with the weight. But once you've established that, and once you've established the other part of it, it's pretty much done. It's pretty much simple there. As long as you're maintaining that hip hinge backwards and forwards, keeping the core strong, not putting any pressure on the back. We're either rounding, we don't want to see any rounding, and we don't want to see overextending here from the hips. So we're putting the pressure on the lower back in that position there. So then all you can do is just go into your full swing, starting on the floor, get going in the right way. Where you're here, swing it up, and then you can continue with your swings. Forearms making contact with the inner thigh, hinging down, squeezing up. And there your swings there. Same way to finish, you come down, you place it out, and then you rest up. Maintaining that good form the whole time. Now, because there's not much more to say about it apart from learning those fundamentals, learning those basics, what I can do is take you into a single arm swing for the remainder of this session. So single arm swing is really absolutely no different to the double. So there's not much to learn here in terms of extra technique. It's just about learning kind of how you want to be doing it. So you can start in the exact same position here. We're going one hand on, and then it swings in, up it goes, back down. So that'll be a stop-start single arm swing. Now the focus here is you don't have to have your arm out like I had, but that really helps in keeping the body level. So what we don't want to be doing is kind of twisting because we're only using one arm, like so. So keeping that arm out can help, but generally just trying to keep the body level whilst we go for these single arm swings can be really helpful there, okay? Now it depends on comfort for this part. You can turn your hand in if you like. So obviously you just saw me there having my knuckles facing upwards the whole time. What a lot of people prefer or feel more comfortable when doing a single arm swing is turning that thumb inwards as the swing comes in. That is totally up to you if you want to incorporate that technique. I'll show you here. So this is where the knuckles are fully facing up the whole time, like so. It really doesn't change much in terms of the exercise, but now I'm going to take that thumb inwards and open it back up as I come up. So that little twist there, okay? And then you can swap at the top if you like, or you can take it down and then swap at the bottom. Doesn't matter. If you don't feel confident swapping at the top, then obviously swap at the bottom. Now the final thing you may see, I've had questions about this a lot in my videos and just when I demonstrate this to clients, is sometimes I'm not even thinking about it, take up the technique of like the bent arm technique. So I'll show you what that is first of all. So into that same position, into that swing, and then my arms, elbows kind of staying by my side, and I'm swinging here. Now, is this much different to that straight arm swing? Absolutely not, and you can see why, because the only thing that is changing is the arms. The swing is exactly the same. So what is the difference between the two? Well, depends how it feels to you. I kind of like the bent arm swing because, like I mentioned before, the one thing we want to be focusing on is the muscles we're trying to target, so the glutes, hamstrings and lower back. A lot of people can get carried away with the arms and really doing just pulls, especially with the American swing where you're going above the head, which I'm not going to show you today. But when you start to use a lot of the upper body, which is fine if that's what you want to target, but if you're focused on the lower body muscles like the kettlebell swing is primarily aimed for, then I find that that little bend in the arms can help switch off the arms a little bit and make you force you into using the glutes a bit more by having the arms doing absolutely nothing apart from that little bend up. Then that whole hinge and momentum is coming from the glutes and hamstrings, okay? And with that said, I'm not going to keep banging on. We've almost hit 20 minutes anyway. But that's all I need to talk to you about kettlebell swings for now. But of course, if you have any questions about it or any issues with it, then please let me know. I can either do another video if I've missed anything, or I can just talk to you personally. But as far as I can think, that is all you need to know about the kettlebell swing for starters. So hopefully that's helped you with your form. Otherwise, have a good weekend. And I'll be posting the schedule on Sunday as always. But otherwise, I'll see you next week.